Alright, so we're going to go back to 2002, a time before most of the people that watch these videos weren't even a thought. You weren't an idea to your parents. You weren't even an itch in your daddy's nutsack. You didn't exist yet. To the other half of the people, you existed. You were probably in middle school or high school when you played this. And frankly, it was just as cool as you remember it. I was lucky enough to just get the bright idea to go searching after the Steam sale for a bunch of old like PS1, PS2 games that theoretically would probably never be ported to Steam, and lo and behold, apparently Chrome Studios had buddied up and remastered the TIE series ever so slightly, and it made its way to PC, and they were $5 a piece for the entire collection. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to replay the entire collection, see if maybe it's not just a one-time nostalgia trip. I remember 1 being amazing, 2 being pretty damn okay, and 3 never needing to exist. But we'll get to that in the future. Today, we're talking about the amazing one, the one that started it all. And for all the things it did right, the flaws look the biggest as I'm older. I loved this game as a kid. Multiple 100% save files on my PS2 memory card. Would always play it. I actually stopped even renting it at some point. I just straight up bought the game because I rented it so often from Family Video, and I found it in the, I want to say it was like the greatest hits bin at Walmart for a couple bucks. And you know what? Worth. I never realized as a kid how eternally, misproportionately, I wouldn't call it racist, but the accents, man, they're a little too over the top. And I mean, yeah, it made it a goofy, funny kids game for 2000s. That was the Wild West of video games where anything went. I mean, shoot, 2000s, we had newer versions of like Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, we had Ratchet and Clank, TIE, Spyro, Crash. So, seeing semi-platformer adventure games back then was the norm. It being a little weird, the norm, because they all had to stand out and be different. This one, though, with the Australian accents, I don't think it could be made in a serious light in modern day society. And I kind of appreciate that in a sense, because it was one of those relics of the past. And it made me feel like my childhood, you know? Like, I would stay up till 1 in the morning. Ooh, naughty me, playing these games. And it would be great. I would just run around, get all the secrets, find everything. I didn't really go for all the secret picture frames this time around or all the rainbow scales because it wasn't worth my time to try and remember where all those things were. I was one of those kids where if I couldn't find something, I would stay in a level until I found it. I wouldn't go looking for, you know, the cheat codes, because those existed. I wouldn't go looking for a how-to guide from Machinima. Yeah, that unlocked core memory for a few of you. It would just be, you know, an all-night grind to find the last of this, the last of that. And I actually let myself kind of get sucked into that. In one of the levels, you can see that I go back and forth to the level like 3 or 4 times trying to find anything that could be missing. I think I'm missing 1 opal. And I cannot find it to save my life. I don't know where it is. I have since given up on it and just let it be. Childhood me would be disappointed, but I didn't want to make the video any longer than I had to be. I had a great time. I had an absolutely great time playing that game. It took me back. It made me feel young. It made me remember that all video games back then were actually kind of good. Like, not to hate on modern era gaming, but PS2 was alright. Now, comparatively, with difficulty being changed and all that other stuff being changed, it took me 2 play sessions of about 4 hours each, with breaks and pauses, boiled down to about 6 hours for a video, to beat the game. As a kid, I don't think I made it to the final boss until like 2 weeks of gaming. And as a kid, when I would play games, I would play the game. I wouldn't take breaks to go to other games. I would sit back and I would obsessively play games. Mind you, 2002, I was maybe like 8. I was 8. So, one track mind was definitely on the menu then. I wouldn't switch games, I wouldn't switch around anything else. I would just sit there and beat myself against the nearest wall until I found the way to glitch through it. I definitely found some of the old funnier bugs and glitches that one would think would be ironed out with the remaster, but definitely weren't. I forgot what her name was, but the Bat Lady, her fight, just as unplayable as it was on PS2, but still just as absolutely hilarious because it would just break itself. Only one that I found that might have been made harder was the bull. I don't remember the bull having that good of tracking if you were to move out of the way of a pillar. So that was a healthy surprise, and I think I actually either died once or almost died to that fight. Let's see. Fluffy's fight didn't feel any more challenging as far as boss fights got. The boss cast thing was easier as an adult than it was as a kid. Because the boomerang has inverted controls, and my stupid little 8-year-old brain did not understand that. And it just did not make sense. It was also on stick versus mouse and keyboard, so the response time was way worse. Oh, what else? I'm having such a hard time finding things that were different because my jaded child brain wanted to use the rose-colored glasses for the entire experience. You know, actually, I will make a complaint. I don't remember it taking so long to unlock all the boomerangs. Like, I think there was still 2 or 3 boomerangs that I just didn't unlock. I'm trying to think what I didn't have. I can't think of it. I know the Chronorang is the final gift you get, and that one was hilarious to use as a kid, but completely useless in the long run. The Kaboomerang was one of my favorites aside from the Megarang, but as far as the game goes, they really fucked up by giving you the multi-rang way too early. That thing just, it works. It does the work for you, and I love that. Bunch of frills in front of you, start chucking. Bunch of this, that, or the other in front of you, start chucking. The 2 boomerang system is a really good way to limit you and make you think about what you need to do, or prioritize A over B for enemies. And since the rangs have, you know, some generous auto tracking, I mean, it was the PS2 and the GameCube era. So, you know, being able to aim competently wasn't exactly the 100% of the console's power, so they would use a little light auto tracker. Sometimes, though, that auto tracker would go out of its way to kind of screw you if there was, say, 2 or 3 frills and some crates next to them. You could be aiming dead at the frills with your reticle, or just about where you would toss, and it'll just go towards the boxes, and then you're stuck with 1 boomerang and potentially 2 or 3 frills rushing you because they've noticed you. And if you go to throw that second boomerang, and for some reason it also goes to the boxes, you're then stuck relying on your bite, which 50-50 won't work on frills because they can dodge. So it becomes a hairy situation. You use the multi-rang, situation averted. Just run at that entire group of frills and start spamming. It just works that easily. And it is not fixed, I guess. Considerably broken. It doesn't have any special effects on it other than the fact that it's just a lot of rangs. And I love that. Let's see, what else did I get? Got a weird audio bug at the beginning of the second underwater level. Don't know what that was about. Collectibles are definitely always hard to find. I, again, did not do picture frames, but I tried my hardest to make sure I got all the opals and all the bilbies, because those are easy enough. Yeah, it was honestly, it was what it needed to be. I needed that. I needed to go back to my childhood. I needed to have a fun game to just look at and be like, yeah, I played this as a kid. This is where it was for me. And you know what? It felt good. I am horrified and also looking forward to what the rest of the series is going to be like, because I know tie 2 and 3 are more similar to themselves than they are to 1. I don't know. Being able to go places in 2 gets me. I remember 3 having this weird goofy combat where you got to like hand and rang to hand combat style of shit. And I personally don't know if I'm ready to experience what I'm pretty sure was a horrible third game all over again, but it's all in the future. I'll try and put some more videos up for some other stuff that I'm working on right now before we get into tie 2 though. I hope everyone had a great time watching the video. It is definitely a trip to the past. There'll be more stuff on the way soon. Everyone, take it easy out there.